They're starting now to like get it together a little bit. They're getting ready to pick a new DNC chairman. They're not going to sit back for long. And you want to know why? It's obvious. This isn't like some Dan Bongino Stygian witches moment. Folks, you have a lot of people with a lot of interests at stake. You've got green lobbyists who are getting billions of dollars from taxpayers for garbage, cow farting projects that are never going to work. You think they're going to let Trump dry that gravy train for themselves up without a fight? Hell no. They sit there, they lick their chops, they're up, and they're getting ready to fight again. But they need a narrative. You understand they need a guiding narrative to tell the public why they're doing what they're doing. Why? It's obvious. They got their asses kicked. It's kind of hard to go back to the public and say, hey, look, we have a popular mandate to steal your tax dollars and give them to cow farting projects when you just got your asses kicked in every single swing state. So they need a story. And what do I always tell you? The left is good at creating a story, but they're never good at telling you the story. There's a difference. They'll tell you a story, but they will never tell you the story. Here is this. I never really understood where this woman's coming from. She's a talking point queen. Here it is. Whenever you want to see where the left is going to go with a new talking point, I strongly encourage you to listen to Jessica Tarloff on The Five. I know it's hard. She is the queen of talking points. I don't know who feeds them to her, if she reads them in Playbook in the morning, but you can always see the direction the left-wing focus group is going to go. Here she is telling you exactly what I said they were going to say. Oh, this wasn't a mandate. He didn't get 50.1% of the vote, so none of this stuff really matters anymore. Watch. Your boy was ahead of this. Check this out. Tarloff, yes.
One thing, though, that I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of work to do, because there absolutely is. For people who are talking about this as if we got completely decimated, the numbers don't bear that out. So Trump didn't cross 50%. Of the popular vote. So a majority of Americans didn't vote for him, and Senate Democrats performed really well. So people like Ruben Gallego, Tammy Baldwin, Jackie Rosen in Nevada, they ran 7-8 points ahead of Kamala Harris, which is what was predicted. And that does show that this normie coalition can exist. It was that Trump had a special sauce at the top of the ticket for a lot of people.
Did we not say it? Did we not say that it doesn't matter what Trump does? 2016, he wins the Electoral College. No good. Despite the fact that's how federalism works. No, he didn't win a popular vote. Trump wins a popular vote. He didn't win the popular vote by enough. There is nothing this guy can do to convince these people on the left because they're not interested in evidence. You understand? If Trump would have won 51% of the popular vote, what do you think they would have said, folks? Folks in the chat, you know. Well, he didn't win like Reagan. He didn't win 49 states. Folks, this is a completely different country than it was in 1988 with monopolistic media control. It's totally different right now. You have two divided factions and almost no middle anymore. It's a different country. To win every single swing state and resoundingly win the popular vote, if you're not categorizing that as an electoral mandate for the MAGA vision of the country, then you're just an idiot or you're a hack. You pick. It's not just her. Here's Harry Enton on CNN, who, usually tells the truth, and his numbers are accurate. I don't want to knock his numbers. But again, they're cherry picking data here to make it seem that this electoral slaughter that just happened wasn't. Why? Think behind the scenes. Follow the money, folks, always. Was the title of one of my books. There are people right now who have been benefiting and suckling at the teat of government for the last 4 years under Biden. The gravy train is about to dry up. Green industries, fabs, people who benefited from the Inflation Production Act, the CHIPS Act, where you paid billion-dollar companies your tax dollars to boost their stock price. It's all going to dry up. You think they're going to go down without a fight? They need a narrative. And the narrative is, Trump isn't that popular. It's time to start fighting back. Here, watch this.
His popular vote victory ranks 44th out of 51. That ain't exactly strong. Some might argue that is weak, in the words of Tony Blair. In fact, his popular vote win at this point is the weakest, going all the way back. You have to go all the way back to 2000 to find a weaker one, a smaller popular vote victory than Donald Trump currently has.
I told you that's what's going to happen. They're going to get. Now, keep in mind, when Barack Obama won a similar victory, it was the greatest electoral mandate ever. I warned you about this stuff. Again, they're going to continue to move the goalposts. If they mysteriously found 1 million new votes, Democrat style, for Donald Trump, and he did win 51% of the vote, I promise you they'd move the metric again and say, well, Barack Obama got 51.11. It doesn't matter. What's the lesson for you here going forward? There are powerful forces with a lot of money working against you to move the MAGA agenda and flush it down the toilet. We're not going to let it happen. The mandate is real. You showed up. You brought 10 people. And who's chiming in now, too? You see how when the left puts their little, tentacles out there with a narrative, everybody scoops it up like an octopus? Everybody takes it and runs with it? Tarloff, CNN. Oh, look, here's Alexander Soros, Soros's kid. It is not a powerful mandate, and the numbers are important. This was a close election, not a surprise. It was not a close election, dude. The election was over if you knew what you were talking about by 9 o'clock that night. He got his ass kicked. Oh, she got her ass kicked in this thing, period. Trump wiped out the Democrats nearly everywhere. And if it wasn't for California scamming and all this other stuff with their counting votes, Arizona and California, 700 days after the election, this would have been an even more resounding House victory. And by the way, one thing the left isn't telling you, the only reason the House is even close is because scamming in California, endless vote counting in these districts, and also because they gerrymandered a couple states, everywhere from Alabama to New York. And then they complain about it when the same thing happens in a Republican state. That's the only reason they're even close. Don't believe the BS, folks. The mandate is real. And in more bad news from the Democrats, look at this tweet here about this polling data. Folks, this does not look good for them going forward. Puck News, which again is some far-right leaning outlet, a bracing new poll for Democrats. Voters approve of the Trump transition. Yes. GOP is now more popular than the Democrat Party. Yes. Most Democrats want to move past Kamala. I actually think that's a bad thing. I think you should nominate Kamala again. She was a wonderful candidate, best I've ever seen. Oh, look. Kamala Hillary. Guy said it right. Kamala Hillary, 2028. Guy, I am all in. Michael's going to get the PAC going today. Kamala Hillary PAC. We're all going to make donations to run ads to get them to run again. Oh, here's another one. Podcast boosted Donald Trump. Donald Trump at the end did about 5 or 6 podcasts. He did Theo Vaughn. He did Joe Rogan. He did my show, Aiden Ross, and The Undertaker in the wrestling show, and maybe 1 or 2 more. And you know what? He won. Why? Because we're only 11 minutes and 2 seconds into the show, and there's 128,000 people rising by hundreds by the second here. We're talking to a major football stadium every day and millions on demand. Here, this last part's important too. Puck News, only 12% of voters pay for news. You know, I get this a lot. They say, Dan, a lot of people in the business have asked me to go behind a paywall, fully behind a paywall. In other words, you'd have to pay to get my content. Listen, there's always going to be some stuff there, and it's extra stuff I do for the hardcore P1s. I have my locals and others. But this show, the Dan Bongino show, this weekday podcast is going to be free. Why? Because, folks, only 1 out of 10 people is really willing to pay. Those are like the hardcore P1s if you're a business person. And I appreciate that. But this show is going to stay free. And that's why we're reaching, now 130,000 people. And they're not. Folks, as Anita posted this morning, we are the news now. And don't you forget it. Because cutesy time is over and we led the way. And a lot of people are recognizing that, folks. Cutesy time is over. I'll say again today on Wednesday, people are policy, and it is time for us, because we are the news, to double down on the MAGA agenda. Don't believe the left-wing bullshit. Oh my gosh, you guys didn't really have a mandate. If you believe that, I'm serious. Listen to me right now. You're a freaking imbecile. You cannot read tea leaves and you're just going to get smoked again. You want to keep it up with the transgender bathroom stuff. You want to keep it up with the porn in schools and the open border stuff and all the weak, foreign policy stuff and also other, weakness on the national stage. You go right ahead, but you're going to get your ass handed to you again in the next election. Cutesy time is over. The cultural shift is happening. Folks, how many of you in the chat followed Andrew Breitbart when he was still with us? Breitbart was, I didn't know him. I met him one time at CPAC in, 2010 maybe? I don't know, 2011. He was sitting there at a table talking to Ted Cruz, and my campaign manager introduced me to him. He's a not very nice guy, but if you knew Andrew Breitbart, the eponymously named Breitbart.com site, Breitbart was a very insightful guy. Breitbart understood something before a lot of people did, that you can argue about politics all day, but if you don't change the culture, the American voter culture, the politics are irrelevant. You're just going to keep voting for the same old idiots. In other words, if you don't change the way people think, it doesn't matter how they think about voting. Does that make sense? The cultural shift has to change. And there's been a culture of fear. I don't want to get too deep because I don't want to bore you guys. If I am, in the chat, say STFU. You know what that means. Say, Dan, shut up, move on. There's been a culture of fear, and I know you felt it. It's gone on for decades, but it's been really intense for about the last 10 years. This culture of fear, I know you felt it. And I'm not saying you didn't override it and flip the lefties the double barrel middle finger, but there was a culture of fear about putting a MAGA hat on in public, especially in cities. There was this culture of fear, like if I post online that a man can't be a woman, am I going to get banned? I know you felt it. Again, I'm not saying you didn't. A lot of you just did the right thing. I mean, we've never wavered on this stuff. That's why I was banned from YouTube. They told me on YouTube, remember that email with that Coco lady? You remember that, Key? They were like, you can't say masks don't work. So we went on the air the next day on YouTube and said masks don't work, and they banned us from the platform. So listen, bona fides matter. We did it. But that fear culture is now, you're seeing it in record time completely evaporate. That's why the Trump dance thing is so important. Folks, it's funny, it's silly, it's not a big deal what they're doing, but it is a big deal what they're doing. They're changing the culture of fear to a culture of pride. Hey, we're on the right side of this and we're proud of it. I just want you to watch this. This is this soccer. I don't follow soccer, so shamefully, I don't really know who this guy is. Maybe I should, but it's the best. I don't follow soccer, but he looks like a pretty cool cat, and I love him even more now. Look at him doing the Trump dance. I love this guy. What is his name? Pulisic? Sorry, if I don't know, I'll tell you. I'm not going to bullshit you. But this guy, I love this guy. We're big fans. We're huge fans. Can you send us an autographed jersey? Would you mind? So if anybody knows this guy, Pulisic, if you have an autographed jersey, I'll pay for it. We'll put it up in the new studio. It's everywhere. The NFL, what were they doing? They were kneeling. Remember Colin Kaepernick with the socks with the cops depicted as pigs? Now what is everybody doing? Now they're doing the Trump dance. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It is beautiful to see, man. The culture is changing. Shockingly. It's even starting to change on Capitol Hill, where the golden rule of Republicans applies. What's the golden rule of Republicans on Capitol Hill? Anyone in the chat? Bring it, don't sing it, or sing it and bring it. What's the golden rule? Most Republicans on Capitol Hill are what? Who's going to get it first? Let me look. Trump dances everywhere. Yeah, look. We got a Trump dance emoji? Who's going to get it? Most Republicans. Most are who? Blariz, Blariz says, they are, yes, most Republicans on Capitol Hill are Democrats. However, no Democrats on Capitol Hill are really Republicans. You remember that golden rule, you will never be disappointed. But even there, the culture is starting to change. Don't get involved with the emotions with these people. You view every member of Congress like a spreadsheet. They do something that's a +1, excellent, thumbs up. They do something that's a -1, what do? We go out there and we call it out, and we don't give a shit if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Here's Speaker Johnson. There's something going on right now up on Capitol Hill. I need you guys, because I'm going to keep you ahead of the news cycle. That's not be dramatic. This kind of in the news cycle. But Evita, I know you've been following this story too. There is a trans member of Congress who is a man, okay? Is a man and is absolutely a man, okay? Like a biological man in every sense of the word. A man. You don't need the biological, the man, okay? What happened is now, because the left understands like the culture war in the past better than we did, they're trying to set a trap for Republicans. Republicans, how are you going to refer to this member of Congress? Congressman? The individual is a man. Now, typically, members of Congress would freak out. Oh, my gosh, you're going to ask me about masks, the COVID vaccine. You're going to ask me about men versus women. You know, I can't talk about that. The Wuhan virus. Oh, my gosh, because they're really Democrats. But the culture is changing. Here's Speaker Johnson on the trap they're setting yesterday, because he gave a little bit of like a wishy-washy answer. And then I think he realized, like, it probably wasn't right. And then he came back to the microphone and whoosh, this happened.
Hello,
Check
everybody.
This out.
I just want to make a statement for all of you here and be very clear. I was asked a question this morning at the leadership gaggle, and I rejected the premise because the answer is so obvious. For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman. That said, I also believe, that's what Scripture teaches, what I just said, but I also believe that we treat everybody with dignity. And so we can do and believe all those things at the same time. And I wanted to make that clear for everybody because there's lots of questions. But that's where I stand. I've stood there my whole life, and those are facts.
Folks, none of this is hard. None of this is hard. What he just said there is correct. You tell me your name is Sarah? That's your name. Don't ask me to call you a woman. You're not a woman. You're a man. And I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to address you as a woman. You want to call, I don't care what you go. That's fine. I don't make anybody feel bad. You got your thing. I got my thing. You do you. Do not, and there's no circumstance I am going to call you a woman. You are not. You are asking me to believe something and tell my audience something that is not true. It is not true in any way. In any way. From the DNA upward, it's not happening on this show. Finally, you're seeing the culture change. He just said it right. Can you imagine in the 90s playing this video? People would be scratching their heads like, what the hell are they even talking about? It was so obvious. They're setting a trap. Every single day, there's going to be a new thing about bathrooms. How do you address this individual? It's really simple. You put it to bed from the start, just like that. Of course, Nancy Mace introduced a piece of legislation that men will use the men's room and women in the women's room. Again, why this is controversial, I don't know. I don't know. You have the equipment. You go in that room. You don't have that equipment, have different equipment. You go in that room. That is hard. And because Nancy Mace happens to be a woman, you would think they would support her, defending women, the right to privacy in their own bathrooms. Oh, no, they're attacking Nancy Mace. You know what? Let me play that video quick so I can get to that. I'll take it. I know I'm running a little behind, but this is important. Here's Nancy Mace on what's going on with this bill to keep the trans member of Congress in the bathrooms where they belong, men with men and women with women. None of this is hard, folks. Watch this.
The question is, with your piece of legislation about banning women from
100%
using...
yes.
My question to you is...
And it doesn't go far enough. I'll be filing more bills.
You have said that it was created in response to Congresswoman-elect McBride.
100%. And
but should legislation be created targeted at one specific person?
It doesn't mention anyone in the legislation, but
you've said it was aimed at her.
No, I have said it's a result of this. I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no. I am not going to stand for it.
Good for you again. If you've got a dong, women's bathroom is data Martian. Data Martian. He's got the data. He's definitely not a Martian. If you post it here, I'm not sure the Wi-Fi signal goes that far. Folks, this is not hard. This is not, you see how when you start to waver on this, Reminds me of an interview I did yesterday with Sean Davis on the radio. Sean Davis was talking about the bedwetters in the middle. How once they think they can scare you, you better call a man or woman. They'll keep pressuring you. Once you're clear on it, there's nothing left to say. I am not calling a woman a man or a man a woman, period, under any circumstances. That's it. That's it. I'm not interested in your pronouns. I'm interested in how pronouns work. Tell me your name, fine, whatever. The culture's changing, man. This era of our truth and my truth is giving way to an era of the truth. And you should be proud to be a part of it. All right, folks, quick break. I'm going to get back to the show. And I'm going to show you now how the Democrats, like I told you, they're reorganizing and they're doubling down on crazy. If you thought they were going to change, you're nuts. Hey, it's been a tough year for a lot of us impacted by emergencies. There have been some really nasty hurricanes you've seen, storms. There's emergencies all over the world. And the thing about emergencies is they happen typically without notice. Folks, you saw that with some of these hurricanes and floods where people didn't expect it. The last thing you want is you get an infection and the pharmacy's either wiped out, closed, or locked up, and you're in real trouble. Listen, I sadly have personal experience with this over the last few weeks. I told you I got bit by something, true story, and I had my hand look like a damn boxing glove. You imagine where I'd be without antibiotics? Go get yourself a Jase case today, Jase. Go to jase.com, enter code Bongino at checkout for a discount on your order. The Jase case is a personalized emergency kit that contains essential antibiotics and medications you should have on hand anytime, but especially during emergencies and disasters. From antibiotics to EpiPens and more, Jase will provide a kit of essentials you need. All it takes to get a Jase case is to visit jase.com. You fill out a simple online form, review the terms, and as soon as Jase Medical has a physician evaluate your request, the Jase case could be on its way to you. Go to jase.com. Enter code Bongino at checkout for a discount on your order. That's promo code BONGINO, Bongino. Promo code Bongino at jase.com, Jase. Jase Medical and its products are not intended as a substitute for professional medical treatment or advice. Consult with your healthcare provider. Thank you, Jase. Folks, the culture is changing. You're seeing it right now. The days of my truth and our truth are coming to an end. But it is time for us to all double down. What you saw happen there with Speaker Johnson has to happen with every member of Congress moving forward. You've got soccer players doing the dance, NFL players doing the dance. The thing about the culture changing is we got to reach that tipping point. It requires us not to get complacent. Some of you may fairly enough be saying, damn, we just won the election a couple weeks ago. Can we take a break? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry to tell you this, but we can't. We can't. We don't have time. It is time to push forward with the nominees, with the culture change and everything, because they're going to lose their minds. I want you to watch this. Jennifer Rubin, this is quick. Jennifer Rubin is a lunatic who writes over at the Washington Post, who has a podcast. Again, do you think there's going to be a moment of self-reflection? They're already telling themselves there's no mandate. Trump basically won by accident. They're implying it at least. And now they're getting ready to double down on crazy again. Here she is. She wants to be pithy and short about what Republicans really stand for. And oh, she is. Check this out.
You have to be pithy. What do I mean by pithy? How about this? Republicans want to kill your kids. It's actually true.
If there's a human being on planet Earth outside of Scaramucci that Trump broke, it's Jennifer Rubin. That's probably the craziest thing you're going to hear all year, but Jennifer Rubin actually believes it. And I play it as a corrective so that we're now, 2+ weeks past the election. I want to ensure that no one gets cocky and thinks, they're just going to, all dance off into the night and go away, the liberals, and leave us alone. They will not. We're winning. We're in one of those back and forth battles where, both sides kind of think they lost at one point, but we kept going. They're going to get their breath. They're already doing it. Here, this is the crazy now. I told you a couple weeks ago after the election that you were going to see a schism on the left. You were going to see people like Cenk from the Young Turks, who was on my show, very liberal guy, very popular podcast, who if you follow him on Twitter, like I've been following, you can see he's trying to tell his fellow Democrats, you guys are crazy. We're losing it right now. But that's the one wing of the party that realized they've got a problem. But I warned you that the other wing of the party, the crazies, we're not only going to get not less crazy, sorry for the triple, quadruple, double negative, but we're going to get crazier. They were going to double down and say, like Bernie Sanders and AOC are, and they were going to say something to the effect of, hey, man, we just weren't liberal enough. We need more porn in schools. Here's Julie Roginski, another one who's like, seriously, like, I'm not... I remember her from Fox, some of the dumbest talking points you've ever heard in your life. Here she is on CNN. She's convinced, I want you to listen to this whole thing, because they believe this, that the military is getting ready to come to round people up at gunpoint under the Trump era. Now, when none of this happens, she will never apologize, but they actually believe this. This is the left-wing crazy portion of the crazy party. Check this out.
That if anybody comes for these people and tries to drag them out by force, there will be protests of people like me, American citizens, who are going to stand there and do everything possible to prevent these women and children, which is all who these people are.
How about the criminals? How about the terrorists? How about the convicted?
How do you sort through them? How do you know who it is?
How do you sort through them? That's the problem. I don't know who it is.
Stop. I'm sorry. I live next to these people. I can tell you they are women and they are children. Are there terrorists among them? I don't know. But I can tell you that there are.
And neither does the government.
But I can tell you. But let me tell. Okay. But what I'm telling you right now, practically speaking, is that there will be people, American citizens, who will prevent these little kids from being dragged out of these shelters. There are. And what's going to happen to these people? What is going to happen to the military when the military opens fire on us?
But no one's...
Do you understand how insane that is? This woman, listen to me. I've met this woman before. We're not friends. I'm telling you, she believes this, that the United States military is going to start opening fire on people. It doesn't matter how many times Borders are Tom Homan. Because, folks, listen, this is the true show. It's not the bullshit show. I tell you the story, not a story. Deporting 12 million people at once is not logistically possible. It's not. There's just, I wish they weren't here illegally. Unfortunately, they are. We have to prioritize the most dangerous people first. Homan's a diehard on the border, but he understands logistics-wise that, I know, there you go. There's Scott Jennings like, I can't believe I got to sit on the panel with this imbecile. That's all of America right now. It's certainly the Bongino army. Maybe we should create an emoji out of that. That's all of America. They believe this, man. They absolutely, I promise you, she believes this, that the American military is going to come in there. Homan has said repeatedly, we are going to prioritize the murderers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And then we're going to do our best to get everyone here illegally out. You're not going to get they're still coming in. No matter how secure your border, you're still going to have some people who sneak in. It doesn't matter. Julie, they're putting, and the reason I put that out there is the far lefty crazy people listen to this, so you can expect them to keep up the nonsense and the craziness. If you thought they were going to back off, you're out of your mind. Listen, the Bongino army is strong, folks. I'm going to take a quick break here, but I want to thank you. I know I thank you a lot. We're number 2 yesterday. We lost out to the space launch on a live stream, but it was still an impressive showing. I appreciate it. But I've been getting a lot of calls from a lot of people. I'm obviously not going to say who, but this has happened, and I want to make sure you hear it. You listening? A lot of people who are going into the Trump administration or expected to are really grateful for, one, your support of President Trump, your votes, and they're really grateful that you're pushing for them. They are really grateful. I mean, really grateful. They know what you guys mean and matter, and they know you guys matter. So I deeply appreciate it, and so do they. Having said that, I think the tide is turning. You're making a difference, and I think some of these senators are getting the message. Last break, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to play a clip, this is crazy, by Lindsey Graham, who's not really known as like the most diehard conservative guy. But, folks, he has a vote, and he does run a very moderate wing of the Republican Party. So the clip's important. It's important for us to be in the know. Lumen. It's one of the world's first handheld metabolic coaches. It's a device. It measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, it lets you know if you're burning fat or carbs and provides tailored guidance to enhance your nutrition, workouts, sleep, and stress management. I use it every morning. How does it work? You just breathe into Lumen first thing in the morning. It analyzes your metabolism and indicates whether you're burning fat or carbs. That's important because based on these insights, Lumen provides a personalized nutrition plan for the day. Can also use Lumen before and after workouts and meals to get real-time updates on your body's metabolic state, keeping you on top of your wellness game. I've been using it, love it. Thanks to Lumen for sending the product over. It helps me understand my metabolism better and make smarter daily choices. So if you want to stay on track with helping your health this holiday season, go to lumen.me, lumen.me/Bongino, lumen.me/Bongino. Get 15% off your Lumen. Lumen, lumen.me/Bongino. For 15% off your purchase. Lumen makes a great gift too. Statements of products are not been evaluated by the FDA, not to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or condition. Thank you, Lumen. And our last sponsor today, MyPillow. So a large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. It's a bad thing, right? They're going to make it your gain. Why? Because the first time ever, you get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices. Only $14.88, but it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. Go to MyPillow.com, use promo code Dan, or call 800-637-4982 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. Also, orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2025. Are limited quantities at this price? Limit's going to be 10. Once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-637-4982 and use promo code Dan. Once again, that's MyPillow.com or call 800-637-4982 and use promo code Dan to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever. Check them out. Okay. Folks, your wake-up calls to certain members of Congress on the Senate side have been working. You've been letting them know you matter. The Bongino army is strong and growing. Here is Lindsey Graham, obviously not a diehard member of the Tea Party MAGA movement, but here he is on Gates. And as I keep saying, don't get him. I know a lot of you in the chat, Dan, I get it. We're not looking to date the guy. We need a +1 right now. What's the +1? His vote on Gates. That's what we need. We need it. It's not an option. We need it. We can't lose anybody. We've already got an issue with these confirmation numbers, okay? Here's Graham on Gates, and this is at least a positive sign. +1 for now. Check this out.
Nobody should be disqualified because of a media report.
It's more than it's an investigation. Investigated by the department. He wants to leave. Bipartisan ethics investigation.
And they didn't proceed forward.
It's a positive sign. It's a positive sign. I'm not telling you we're not going to keep our eyes on it because we're going to. But folks, what's happening to Gates right now, Matt Gaetz, who is Trump's nominee for Attorney General, is straight up bullshit, man. It's just bullshit. I'm sorry. Look at the Daughtry, Eric Daughtry, who we love, has a really great tweet on this. You think Matt Gaetz is the only member of Congress who's been the subject of some investigation, and no charges were ever filed in this case? Marjorie Taylor Greene just said if Gates' ethics report is released, so should every other damning government file. What about the Epstein tapes? What about ethics reports on other members? What about sexual harassment claims? Folks, I think you want a priest go to church. You want people who are going to do conservative stuff, then get the most conservative guy. Says, if we're going to dance, let's all dance in the sunlight. I'll make sure we do. Yeah, let's do it. You want to target Gates? Fine. Target Gates, but let's see what everybody else has too. Folks, we need this vote. We need this vote badly. We've got to get this guy in here. And by the way, here's another one. I love this from Daughtry. Breaking. Hacker obtains transcripts of testimony damaging to Matt Gaetz. New York Times. Where am I going with this? A hacker? Oh, yeah, sure. You're telling me this wasn't another inside job? This was a hacker? If you believe this, folks, I got a bridge over there in Palm City, the adjoining neighborhood. I'll sell you on the cheap. There is zero chance this was a hacker. Zero chance. Someone's releasing damning testimony for a reason. We need more balls up on Capitol Hill. Push ahead, foot on the gas pedal. There's no time for halfway nonsense. It's time to go for it. We've got a 2-year window, not 4. It's a 4-year term. I get it. The midterms are going to be tough. We've got 2 years. We need more of this stuff. Check this out. This is Eli Crane. Eli Crane's a great congressman. He's looking into the Secret Service, the breakdown in the security failure. Here's Eli Crane. He's given a speech up on Capitol Hill about basically concealed carry, the Second Amendment, and of course some lady comes in there and tries to interrupt him. This is exactly the kind of attitude we need going forward. I love this clip. Check this out.
And this is just beautiful watching this heckler and protester over here who doesn't want to hear our argument. She just wants to be loud and annoying. Well, congratulations, ma'am. You have been 100% effective. Yeah, no, you don't want to hear our arguments. So you just sit here and run your mouth. You just run your mouth and you're loud. Yeah, you are. We're actually talking to the American people here. Thank you. Yeah, so am I. Maybe you should read the Constitution because. Maybe you should. Yeah, I have read it. I've been behind and we have a right to bear and keep arms, and you don't want to see that continue anymore.
I love me some Eli Crane. I only play that because that's the attitude going forward, folks. No more bullshit. No more halfway nonsense. It is time for us to floor the gas pedal. The Swampies have told us for years, nominate a Mitt Romney. Give us a Jeff Flake and Adam Kinzinger and everything will be okay. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. We failed. We have now changed the coalition of the Republican Party going forward, and you did it. And we did it because we've acted with some balls. Full steam ahead. Bongino Army, I need your help here too. Been asking for a couple of days. Cat Turd, by the way, huge hat tip to Cat Turd, who's been helping us out with Cash Patel. And let me just address something up front. A few people have reached out fairly enough and said, hey, Dan, why are we pushing this now? Christopher Wray, the current failed FBI director's term, goes through, 2027? Trump can fire Christopher Wray, just like he fired Comey. I don't mean to sound like an asshole. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. But I'm not sure if the people emailing me know that. Trump is not obligated to keep Christopher Wray. And the rumor mill from very serious people is that Christopher Wray, the current FBI director, who's failed almost as bad as Comey, is going to leave. We've got to have a guy ready to go, and it should be public right away. I'm telling you that guy is Cash Patel. With every fiber of my DNA, Cash is the guy. Cash knows where the bodies are buried. He was a major figure in breaking up the Spygate operation, in exposing the Russian collusion hoax. And my opinion, he's the only guy for the job. We need Cash Patel. I don't know when that announcement's going to come out. It's obviously Donald Trump's choice. Folks, the team really loves you guys, the Trump team. They really appreciate your support. Your voice matters. And I'm sure on social media it does make a difference. Cash is the guy. I want you to play this clip again from him on the Sean Ryan Show, another terrific podcast, talking about FBI spying. I told you yesterday how Cash gets it, that the FBI took too big of a footprint in intelligence and forgot their criminal role. Now here he is on spying. This is his own words. This guy absolutely gets it. We don't get this guy and we get, an establishment hack. You're going to get more Christopher Wray Comey stuff. Watch this.
Chris Wray was caught last year illegally using 702 collection methods against Americans 274,000 times.
274,000 times.
It's not my number. It's in the report that they wrote. The FISA court wrote it. And then the FISA court, and there was this big fight about 702 reauthorization. I know it might not be appealing to your audience, but it was a big fight this year to say we want FISA reform. And FISA did need reform. We exposed it and we gave you a bunch of reforms during Russiagate, and it never got implemented. So because the budget of FISA was up this cycle, we demanded Congress fix it. And do you know what the majority in the House, where the Republicans did? They bent the knee. They reauthed it.
Why?
I don't know. Ask them. And they said, oh, no, we're just doing it for another year. We're just going to kick the can down the road. I'm like, okay, so the other year you're doing it for is an election year. We showed you how they abused FISA once already. And then now you know about Chris Wray and all these other FISA abuses. But you trust the director of the FBI, this guy Chris Wray, who went before you and said, no, don't worry. We fixed everything. We're good. And they gave him more spy powers? I can't answer that one, and I couldn't get on board with that legislative fix.
Listen, it's rare for me to make such a passionate appeal to you guys about a nominee. Folks, this is the guy. If we F up the FBI director spot, Wray is going to be gone. There's no way he's staying. He's going to be fired. He's going to leave. Kash has so many people so scared on the inside that if you believe in me at all and what I'm telling you, and you remember my golden rule, measure the effectiveness of a nominee or a policy by the reaction of your political enemies, they are melting down over Kash. Now, I have to warn you about something. Turn it up. Turn it up. This is really important. There are people out there on X right now, the world's most powerful news platform, no question about it. They are anonymous accounts. Anonymous in that you don't know their real names. They have some picture up and then it says like whatever, X-Man or whatever it may be. I'm not even going to say their names, but if you're following on Twitter, you know who they are. I promise you, these are plants. They are either left-wing or deep state plant accounts who are trying to sabotage people like Flynn, people like Patel. Why do you think they're doing that? I give you a simple test. If you're on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. Ignore these people. They are lying to you. They are working against you and for the deep state. Here's a simple test. Send them a DM if you can, these anonymous accounts claiming Kash. Oh, we don't want Kash. We don't want Mike. These are terrible guys. Just send them a simple question. Say, what's your name? I absolutely guarantee you they either don't answer or they make some John Brown. Why won't they tell you their names? You know my name. I am publicly on my birth name is Daniel John Bongino. That's my name. Look it up. You're listening to the Dan Bongino Show. I'm telling you on my honor, Kash Patel's the guy. Why can't those people do that? There is an enormous deep state effort to stop Kash from getting this job because they are terrified he's going to be the one with the keys to the kingdom. And I don't mean the good kingdom. I mean the kingdom of shit that led to the collusion hoax and Spygate. Please trust me. It is very sophisticated. It is an op. Enough said. I don't want to beat this thing to death. It's an op. I'm absolutely sure of it. Just ask them. Folks, people are policy. People are policy. That's why they're focusing their ire on Gates, on Hegseth, on Kash, on Tom Homan. Here's Tom Homan on the border. Some of these local liberal mayors are now claiming that they're going to obstruct federal immigration agents from deportations of people who broke into law and in the country illegally. Homan's like, oh, really? Okay, you go ahead and do that because, that's a violation of the law too. Ladies and gentlemen, cutesy time is over. You want to obstruct and get in the way? Okay, fine. You go ahead and do that. You may find yourself in jail, though. Don't listen to me. Listen to him. Check this out.
Defending our residents every possible way. Well, she's not very smart. I'll give her that. Because what I just said is President Trump's going to prioritize public safety threats. What mayor or governor doesn't want public safety threats out of their communities? I mean, that's her number one responsibility, is to protect her communities. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So she helps us, she gets the hell out of the way, because we're going to do it. And look, there's a clear line here, and they can't cross a clear line. I would suggest she read Title 8, United States Code 1324 III, that says, you can't harbor or conceal an illegal alien from front of law enforcement officers. So I hope she don't cross that line. They can not cooperate. But there are certain laws in place that they can't cross, and I hope she doesn't cross it. But
folks, this is the kind of talk we need. You want to break the law, you're going to jail. The difference between us and the left is they have to manufacture bullshit against us. Donald Trump defrauded a bank. Really? The banks understand going, he didn't defraud us. We love doing business with him. We'll do it again. They will actually break the law and stick it in our face like they did in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. People have to go to jail. That's it. That's the end of that story. I got to play this. Don't go anywhere. I promised you I was going to cover this January 6th pipe bomb bombshell story. Pun, believe me, intended. I'm going to get to it in a second. I just want to play this quick one here. Again, with our nominees, it's kind of hilarious how left-wing media refers to our nominees. Pete Hegseth. No government experience. He's a morning show host. Really? 20 years fighting for the United States and 2 Bronze Stars. I'm pretty sure that's government experience. Here's how they refer to Sean Duffy, who is the nominee for Transportation Secretary. I was informed this morning, a 5-term congressman, a prosecutor, a trained lawyer, and a guy who's only been in the public eye for like 30 years. Here's how Caitlin Collins, who I want to remind you was the movie critic at the Daily Caller on CNN, refers to the great Sean Duffy, a personal friend, and a good man. Check this out.
Breaking tonight, another Fox News host has been tapped for Trump's cabinet. What we know about Trump's latest pick, also a former reality show star.
Also a former reality show star. Michael, he's done a couple other things, right? He thinks. He's not sure. He'll ask him later. He knows him a little bit, yeah. I think he went to law school. I don't know. I heard. Then he was like a prosecutor thingy or something, like Congress or something like that. Yeah. None of that matters. Reality show. He's also like a lumberjack and all that. Have you ever seen the video? That's like, the funny thing is the guy's resume is so deep, no one even talks about it. What did he do? He chops trees down like lumberjack, this log rolling and stuff. Don't even forget all that stuff. Whatever, man. I'm so sick of the left-wing media. The good news, Anita, post it again. Who's the news now? We're the news, kids. We're the news, and they hate us for it. All right, this is important. Serious time. Serious hats on. Folks, the pipe bomb scandal on January 6th at the DNC building, I'm telling you, is the biggest scandal of our time. Are you listening to me? Please tell me you are. I've already told you what I know happened. This was definitely an inside job. They moved Kamala Harris from the Capitol on January 6th to the DNC. Some insider put a pipe bomb there in case Republicans started making a stink about the certification. They were going to go, stop it! Kamala Harris was almost killed by a MAGA terrorist. Ah! Well, what happened? Well, the riot at the Capitol happened, and they didn't need the pipe bomb story anymore, so they're trying to make it go away, but we won't. I want to play this again. This is Tom Massey, a great congressman from Kentucky, questioning our failed FBI director that better resign quick about the January 6 pipe bombs and how they don't seem to know anything about it. It's so weird. Check this out.
Director Wray, in light of information provided to us about the FBI's investigation of the January 6 pipe bombs, in an interview with Assistant Director Stephen D'Antuono, Chairman Jordan and I sent you a letter a month ago. Some of the information that we found in that interview was that phone data that could have helped to identify the pipe bomber was corrupted, was unusable. He also wasn't sure who found or how the second bomb was found at the DNC. Do you know how the second bomb was found at the DNC? And when do you plan on answering our letter?
Well, as to the letter, I will work with the department to make sure we can figure out what information we can provide. As you know, this is a very active, ongoing investigation, and there are some restrictions on that, but we will do our best.
Yes, we can handle classified information, and we fund your department, and so you need to provide that.
It's not, respectfully, it's not an issue of classification. It's an issue of commenting on ongoing criminal investigations, which is something that by longstanding department policy we are restricted in doing. And in fact, the last administration actually strengthened those policies partly because—
That's not our policy, though, and we fund you, so let's move on. Do you know how the second pipe bomb— can you tell us how the second pipe bomb was found at the DNC?
Again, I'm not going to get into that here.
900 days ago is when this happened, and you said you had total confidence we'd apprehend the subject.
This is incredible. You're telling me Christopher Wray's FBI, supposedly the premier law enforcement agency anywhere in the known cosmos, right? Krypton, here, Earth, anywhere else, cannot find a guy or a woman who placed a bomb in front of a building with probably 50 cameras watching it? Nobody can find this person who made a cell phone call when the bombs were allegedly planted. A cell phone that can be traced because they were the only person around at that time of night by triangulating. Oh, we had the data, but the cell phone company told us the data was corrupted. Oh, looky here, right after the Trump win, January 6th, shocker, just the news. phone companies dispute the FBI's testimony on the pipe bomb suspect, key lawmaker reveals. Oh, they have the phone data. Oh, they have it. This is going to break soon. And you are going to have been years ahead of the story. Thanks to Darren Beatty and Julie Kelly and others who've covered this. You are going to be years ahead of this. I'm telling you, this is going to break when the Trump administration gets in there with a new FBI director and hopefully a new Secret Service director that were on that scene. It is going to break, and you are going to find out who this person was. And it is going to kick you right in the junk, folks. This is one of the biggest scandals in U.S. history. And I got to tell you, I feel like I know about 90% of it, but I don't know all of it. I'm not an insider. I wasn't there. I didn't plant this scam. But I'm telling you right now, when that other 10% comes out, I wouldn't be surprised if it's even worse than you think. This is a huge monster scandal. And it also speaks to the culture. This phone company was probably terrified. The FBI probably told them, tell us the data's corrupted or we're going to make your life miserable. Now, all of a sudden, the phone company, realizing they have some liability with the new Trump team, is like, oh, no, data's not corrupted. Data's not corrupted. Folks, this is a huge deal, man. The days of the weaponized police state are over. And another battle we got to take on right away is the battle up against New York State, what's going on with Donald Trump in the system. This Judge Merchan yesterday delaying the case and not dumping this New York case, basically holding the sword of Damocles over Trump's head for 4 years, saying, hey, I'm not going to sentence you on this fake trial, but we're going to basically wait 4 years. You know what they're trying to do, right? If Donald Trump goes and deports people from New York, Alvin Bragg and the judge want basically the sword hanging over Trump's head so he doesn't do it. This cannot happen. We have to go to war with the deep state, and one of the first battles we got to take on is this absolute travesty going on up in New York with the judge that adjourned the case but won't dismiss it. Here's John Turley, a really smart guy, constitutional attorney, on the disgrace of Judge Merchan up in New York with the Twinkies case. Check this out.
I was surprised in watching the trial to see some of his rulings, which frankly didn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought that he had left layers of reversible error, but none of that can be reviewed until this is finalized. Now, some have suggested that the judge could just freeze this for the upcoming term, to leave it in pendency. I just don't see that type of suspension as a likely or good option. You would have the president's critics saying that he's awaiting sentencing after a jury found him guilty of felonies. They need to have a status that where they can appeal this case, including the decisions made by this judge. Now, it is possible in a week that he could yield to calls for dismissal. You know, many have, including myself, felt that this case should never have been brought, that the judge made an unholy mess of it. In my view, it would be good to send the attractions back to their cages and call this circus over. But I wouldn't necessarily bet the farm on that.
Good analysis by Turley. This has to go. Okay, Guy will not let me leave without playing this clip, folks. This may be one of the funniest clips you've ever seen in your life. You remember Cenk from the Young Turks? Cenk, he's a very liberal guy, but he's starting to figure it out that he's on the wrong side of history here, in my humble opinion. He's on Piers Morgan's show with Alan Lichtman, who supposedly has these 13 keys to winning the election. He said Kamala Harris would win. Well, she obviously didn't. And Cenk and him go at it. It's my cannibalism theory of the left. This is what I got to play the whole thing. It's about 1 minute, 50 seconds, but I promise you, it's worth your time. Check this out.
Don't blame the voters. I think, look, we could get into this discussion, but one, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea. And look, I debated Professor Lichtman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right. He was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were
Couldn't
not
find
right,
him
and
before
I
the
was
election.
not wrong. And that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Well, who won, brother?
You should not be
Who
taking
won?
cheap
Who
shots
won?
at me.
Who
You
won?
want to make your
You
point,
live
make your
in
point.
a total
Don't make
world
it
of
personal.
denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah,
so quiet with your personal attacks.
Come find out again.
Make whatever point you want.
Yeah.
Don't
Look,
make it personal.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything.
You attacked me personally.
You're so deluded.
Oh, right. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published? No, because you're personally attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to stand for
brother,
personal
you got it wrong.
Say
you were
whatever
preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just finish a goddamn thought ever on this show?
No, not if you're personally. I admitted I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
Can I just say, it's great to see you Democrats all getting along so well.
Who taught you manners?
It's lovely to see a post-election harmony as you all come together again.
We're just one right now. Hey, Alan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second? And let someone who knows what they're doing.
You're so right, Pierce. You're so right. We're so unified right now. You want, so I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that. You don't
blasphemy against you? Who the hell are you? Are you Jesus Christ, you loser? Okay, can I just give the correct answer for once?
I mean, I want to talk about a pro-America MAGA guy. Former Congressman Sean Duffy, her dad, was yesterday selected to be the next Department of Transportation Secretary in President Trump's cabinet. You can see that right there. Pleased to announce former Congressman Sean Duffy. I got to say to the whole Duffy family, Rachel, who you all know from Fox and Friends, who is a patriot in her own right, Evita and her dad. We got Michael here. Michael, of course, is married to Evita. I said, how does it feel to have your father-in-law in the cabinet? I said, you ever been to the White House? He's like, no, never. I said, well, get ready. You're going to go now. So big round of applause, clapping emojis in the chat. God bless you all. And I do mean God bless you. May God and Jesus Christ give you the discernment to move forward. Everybody say a prayer for Sean. Going to be responsible for the ports, the airports, the roads, the highways, and he is a great man. So I want to start the show today with congratulations. Folks, I got a big show. Unfortunately, after this little short break here, I have a little bit of bad news about international affairs, not about me, right, but something really kind of escalatory happened yesterday that could end up really bad. And then we got the rest of a big show. I told you they were doing a flood the zone strategy. Hey, Beam Cyber Sales here. Bongino listeners enjoy up to 50% off at shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino. Don't miss Beam's biggest sale of the year. I told you they were going to flood the zone. And now the New York Times, as always, folks, 2 weeks behind the Bongino show, is saying the same thing. You were ahead of the curve. Ever heard of data brokers? They're the middlemen collecting and selling all those digital footprints you leave online. They use your browsing history and location data to sell your profile off to a company that delivers you a targeted ad. You may be surprised to learn that these data brokers, the same ones are selling your information to the DHS and the IRS. That's no good. These brokers aggregate data, tie it back to you through your device's unique IP address, and reveals information about your location. What are you going to do about it? Well, you're going to connect to ExpressVPN. That's the right thing to do. Your IP address is hidden. It makes it difficult for them to identify who you are. That's why I have ExpressVPN, the app, downloaded on all my devices. Phone, computer, even the Wi-Fi router. All I do is tap a button and I'm protected. It's really that easy. Right now, take advantage of ExpressVPN's Black Friday Cyber Monday offer to get the absolute best VPN deal you'll find all year. Don't wait. Use my special link, expressvpn.com/Bongino, to get 4 extra months. That's 4 extra months on a 12-month plan or 6 extra months with the 24-month plan, totally free. That's expressvpn.com/Bongino to get an extra 4 or 6 months of ExpressVPN for free. All right, fellas, let's go. So this is a little bit of bad news. I threw this in right at the beginning because it is such a critically important story that to leave it to the end at risk I wouldn't get to it would be political talk show heresy and certainly MAGA heresy. Folks, we sent Ukraine a bunch of ATACMS. ATACMS are basically long-range missiles. It's simple as that. And for the first time, as you can see from this Wall Street Journal article breaking yesterday, the Ukrainians have used them inside of Russia. Folks, this is a major breakthrough in this war. I'm a little concerned, and you should be too. It is not cowardly or isolationist for us to say, well, now if Ukraine is attacking inside Russia and Putin has indicated that he's going to now change his nuclear posture based on this, it's pretty dumb to ignore it. You doubt me? Here's Putin himself. You're going to see the translator talking about this. Now, there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, he's bluffing. Is that really a chance we want to take? There's no question the man has nuclear weapons and could potentially use them. Watch this.
In the updated version of the document,
aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the support of a nuclear state, is proposed to be considered as their joint attack on Russia. Russia will also consider the possibility of using nuclear weapons when receiving reliable information about a massive launch of means of aerospace attack and their crossing of our state border. This includes strategic and tactical aircraft, as well as cruise missiles and drones.
That's what he's talking about, the missile attacks. Now, again, there's a lot of people out there. Well, what are we going to do? Not do anything because Putin said so? I'm not saying not do that. I'm saying I think the better tactical strategy was a strategy to wear the Russians out, kind of like, i.e., Afghanistan, when they had to leave there in humiliating fashion, rather than rapidly escalating, risking another rapid escalation by a nuclear-powered enemy. They have nukes, man. It's not going away. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's real. We can't just cavalierly treat this like it's just some throwaway decision, like we're tossing a penny in a fountain at Disney and making a wish. I'm just telling you to keep your eye on this. Michael just said it. It's clear Joe Biden does not have his cognitive faculties. Who is running this White House? And are these guys risking a potential escalation? I hate the World War III analogies, but something serious like Putin launching a tactical battlefield nuke just because they're headed out the door to leave Donald Trump with a shit sandwich? Don't dismiss the possibility. Keep your eye on that story. I will. I promise you. This is a major, major, major thing. So you are always, folks, always on the Dan Bongino Show. Jim, producer Jim, unflag it, please. I told you the flag it strategy that what Donald Trump was doing with his nominees, Gates, Hegseth, Tulsi, Bobby Kennedy, and others, is he was putting forth folks who are going to be change agents, but we're going to cause controversy amongst the troublemakers on the left. I don't care if they're pissed off. And I said he was doing it in folks, please, we've gotten 1,000 of these, so we appreciate it, but please don't send any more Rock'em, because really, I don't want you wasting your money. So here's the Rock'em. I just wanted you to know I beat Guy yesterday in Rock'em Sock'em Robot, so we can give him a little left here. So I told you it was the Rock'em Sock'em Robot strategy. I actually like this game. That's the hand. I kicked his ass yesterday. Guy tried to mess with me with Rock'em Sock'em. So we are training. Are you training? Were you training? I found like a couple, there's like 5 outside of the studio. I appreciate it, but we do. I need Guy training, like running up the steps in the art museum. I told you it was the Rock'em Sock'em Robot strategy. That Trump strategy, which I think is pretty brilliant, is to flood the zone, keep punching Rock'em Sock'em Robot style, and basically overwhelm the system so they can't focus on one particular nominee. Guys, listen, self-praise stinks. Who gives a shit about patting yourself on the back? Look at me. It was obvious to anyone paying attention. The disconnect, I think, is why he did it. I think we were one of the few shows to mention they learned from what happened to Mike Flynn in 2016. They let the media focus on one guy. Now they're like, boom, hit him with everyone. So, of course, as I said, you were a couple weeks ahead of it. New York Times, of all people, Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, confirming what I told you. They say Gates may not be confirmed, Trump admits, but he's pushing him and others anyway. Why is he doing that? Well, they note Mr. Trump has repeatedly swamped the system with provocations. That Bannon memorably stated that their strategy for dealing with the news media was to flood the zone. Yes. I see red flags in the chat. We told you that's what they were doing. Just listen to us, and you're 2 weeks ahead of the cycle. Here, it goes on. The flood the zone, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, keep punching strategy has ensured, look, that little focus stays on any single scandal. Sidekick. Karate Man strikes again. Because Karate Man hurt on the inside. I told you, Karate Man style. Read it right there. The strategy has ensured little focus stays on any single scandal. Did your boy explain it to you? This guy. What did I tell you? The news programs are only an hour long. They cannot dedicate an hour to one person if they're worried about Bobby Kennedy, Tulsi, Pete, Hegseth, and Gates. They note the caravan moves quickly to the next and the next, creating an overall blurring and flattening effect. Trump has survived them all, including felony convictions and being held liable for sexual abuse, all the scams. I told you. I told you. I want you to witness. This is perfect. This is perfect too. Here's a clip from 61 Minutes, formerly known, folks, why is it now renamed 61 Minutes? Because they added a minute for Kamala. So it was 60. They destroyed their brand. It's like the Redskins becoming the Guardians. It's now 61 Minutes. Listen to this segment in the beginning of 61 Minutes where they don't even know how to handle it. They're like, they bounce from Rubio to Pete to Gates, and notice how they can't spend any time on any one of them. Your boy Danny Botts told you, listen, and you'll be weeks ahead of these idiots in the media. Watch 61 Minutes. Check this out.
The nominees are Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, Pete Hegseth to lead the 3 million people of the Department of Defense. He's a combat veteran, most recently a morning show host on Fox News with no government experience. Former Congressman Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, in charge of law enforcement. Gaetz has been investigated by Republicans for alleged drug use and sex with a minor. Gaetz denies those allegations. Former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard for Director of National Intelligence. She sought a pardon for Edward Snowden, who leaked U.S. secrets and now lives in Russia. And Robert Kennedy Jr. for Secretary of Health and Human Services, a skeptic of vaccinations. It's up to the new Republican majority in the Senate to decide whether these nominees are equipped to represent the American.
Did you see it? Did you see it? You see how they can't focus on any one thing? Michael just said it right. Michael's like, 61 Minutes should have just said, listen, all these picks suck. We don't like them. They don't know what to do. They're like, this guy. I love the line, too, about Pete Hegseth. They said that Pete Hegseth has no government experience. Yeah, outside of working for our military in combat and getting 2 Bronze Stars. You're 100% correct, Scott. No government experience at all. I believe these assholes. Pete Hegseth has no government experience. What was he working for? Fucking G.I. Joe? Who'd you think he was working for in the military? That's the government, you dumbass. Waiting for Leslie Stahl to shout, sir! Sir! No government experience, sir. Besides putting your ass on the line in combat, you're right, no government experience at all. That is exactly right. Guy just nailed it. If he was a bureaucrat in the Pentagon, they would say, he's got government experience, but he's got no combat experience, so he's definitely not relevant for this position. You understand there is no way in these assholes' skewed bubble and view of the world, there is no way to position yourself. That's why you ignore them. You make fun of them. You laugh at them. You mock them. You destroy their credibility. Use Saul Alinsky's rules. Ridicule is the most powerful weapon because there's no effective comeback, and that's why we use it on this in this show, and we use it so surgically. We're in charge now. Did you see that Pew Research thing that came out yesterday? I should have put it in the show. We're in charge now. You know Pew, that polling company? Where do people get their news? Who are 2 of the most trusted sources of news? This guy and Ben Shapiro. We're in charge now, kids. How does that feel, Bongino Army? We're in charge. Not 61 Minutes. This flood the zone, rock'em sock'em. I just destroyed one of the robots. This poor guy just knocked him down. The rock'em sock'em robots. Keep punching, man. The strategy is working. Look at this guy. Maybe we should have him fight like Stimpy. Stimpy, just Stimson, Jay Kako had him with the rock'em sock'em robot. Folks, it is working beautifully. Hat tip Newsbusters. Watch this epic, like minute and 10-second meltdown. They don't know what to do. The second they freak out over one person, they got to move on to the next one. And always gauge the effectiveness of a political battlefield tactic by the response of your enemy. If they're freaking out, what does that mean, folks in the chat? You know, Karate Man is Karate Man. That means you are doing the right thing, and you should move forward and move forward fast. Check this out.
Well, 8 years ago, Donald Trump promised to deliver to his administration the best people. He delivered the worst people to ever work in a presidential administration, and now he is delivering even worse people.
Matt Gaetz is literally the worst pick in the world for Attorney General.
People at the Justice Department who just use the word insane.
Simply gobsmacking. I mean, how could he?
This is a crazy pick. This is a dangerous pick.
He will turn the Department of Justice into a petting zoo.
We've seen people today, our fellow reporters, crying, hugging in the hallways.
This kind of appointment is really striking fear and trepidation in the hearts of the career civil servants over there.
No one is endorsing this.
Tulsi Gabbard, insofar as she is known at all, is known as a spreader of Syrian and Russian disinformation.
Russian television, which is a propaganda machine, has joked that she's a Russian asset. I don't know that for a fact, but that is something they've talked about.
They don't know. They've lost control. Most of you, I assume, in the chat, right? Your parents, you have kids. A lot of you do. Some may not. But you've been a kid at some point, obviously, all of you. You know what it's like to deal with kids around that kindergarten age where they develop their first sense of autonomy, like they know they're distinct from their parents. What do you mean? If you ever had a newborn, the newborn has no sense of self at all. All it knows is how to poop and how to, like, mommy, it's time for food, so I cry. There's that moment, like, the kindergarten age, where they really start to develop that sense of, like, I'm a separate and distinct person, and if I do this, I'll get what I want. And that's why they melt down, because they haven't learned how to control their emotions. That's the media. It may seem like a really odd analogy, but I think you guys in the chat here, you know it's true. They're like a bunch of kindergarten-age children who have no emotional control at all. They can't say, like, well, Congresswoman Gabbard is an experienced former presidential candidate with a serious political and military resume, and we may not agree with some of our foreign policy positions, but given that, she's a serious person. What do they got to do? Tulsi Gabbard is a Putin asset, as if they haven't tried the Putin asset tactic with who, guys? Every single person they agree with ever. It's because they're children. They're little tiny 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. They have no emotional control, bowel control. They wear diapers all day. And that's why we're here to decimate their credibility. And that's why Pew Research has this guy and the Bongino Army as the most trusted source in news, or one of them, in America. We win. You assholes in the media lose every time. Why? Because we're 2 weeks ahead of the news cycle. Did we not tell you to flood the zone strategy? Guy says my credibility will be ruined with Pew if I start publicly talking about my Star Wars takes. I disagree. You're both wrong. My Star Wars takes are real. Yours are fake. Real shit, he says. They are really, no, yours, you guys you're too biased. These guys are like fanboys. You can't have that. Here's our next mission, and we're going to get to this after the break. And I need your help on this. It may happen soon, so keep your eyes open. By the way, just breaking just a few minutes ago, Howard Lutnick, who is the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, a major investment house that, by the way, lost hundreds of people on 9/11. Howard's got an amazing story. Has just been selected as Commerce Secretary. So he is the nominee. Should get through confirmation, no problem. For disclosure, folks, Howard was a business partner in Rumble. Just, I owe you that. I like Howard as the pick. It's distinct from my professional relationship with him. But I've known Howard for a long time. And no one knows business as well as him. So I think he'll be a relatively uncontroversial pick. And I mean, controversy is like fabricated bullshit by the left. You get the point. But I need a favor on this. Folks, we need Kash Patel at FBI. As far as I'm concerned right now, he is the only guy who knows where the bodies are buried and can go in there and clean that mess up. We got to get Kash through. I'm going to go into that next, and I'm going to show you why. This guy gets it. Quick break. We'll get back to that segment. FBI reform is absolutely critical. We don't reform the FBI, all this other stuff is going to be meaningless because they're going to come after you next. Hey, for over 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, standing behind their service and their values as a company. They're an example of putting the cause ahead of profits. That's why I'm proud to partner with them. Right now, you can get their Every Friday Matters special. You can get it today. Patriot Mobile is giving away a brand new smartphone when you make the switch. Patriot Mobile offers exceptional nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks without your dollars funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, your supporting company believes in free speech, religious freedom, the sanctity of life, the Second Amendment, and more. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team makes switching easy. Keep your number, and for a limited time, get a free smartphone. How do you do it? Go to patriotmobile.com/Dan or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code Friday. Again, that's a free smartphone. Offer is eligible only with the promo code Friday. It's a limited time offer or until supplies run out. Terms and conditions apply. Join me and make the switch today to Patriot Mobile. patriotmobile.com/Dan, patriotmobile.com/Dan, or call 972-PATRIOT. Thank you, Patriot Mobile. 150,000, only 20 minutes in. Thank you, Bongino Army. Again, we were the #1 news live stream in the world yesterday. Deeply appreciate your support. It matters a lot to me, so thank you again. I need a favor. We got to get cash through, folks. FBI reform is critical. I want to explain to you in hopefully a minute or less what happened. Post 9/11, the FBI, which had previously focused largely on serious criminal investigations, kidnapping across state, taking crimes across state lines, everything from drugs to bank fraud to bank robberies. You've probably seen Keanu Reeves in Point Break. I mean, it's a movie, you get the point, but that was their thing. The FBI was a very serious criminal investigative agency. They started dipping they always had an intel function, but they dipped themselves way deep in the pool and have now become basically a domestic intelligence gathering operation, and the mission creep is taken over. It has destroyed the FBI because they focused their ire on all the wrong people, not overseas threats as much, but us. I want you to see they're too focused on intelligence now and not on shoe leather, old school police work. Here's a video of Kash Patel. He's on a podcast. This is why we need this guy at FBI. He totally gets the problem while these other guys are just glossing over it. Check this out.
The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big. And the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and rapists and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for the next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title.
Who was that? Was that Anita who pinned in the chat, we want cash? Guys, ladies, I need you. I know Cash well. I promise you it doesn't mean anything. What's my theory on appointees and politicians? I'm all about the spreadsheet. I like Cash personally. I've had a few beers with Cash. We'll hang out. No matter what happens, Cash and I are going to be friends. I promise you on my word that has nothing to do with what I'm telling you. This is strictly a spreadsheet thing. There is no one else out there available with the balls and the knowledge. Who hat tip Sean Ryan's show, by the way, another great podcast. That's where Cash was on there. Who said what he just said? The intel function has gotten out of control. They're not chasing bad guys anymore. They're chasing intel cases. And a lot of these intel cases are on political targets like Moms for Liberty and others, when they should be out there locking up bank robbers, freaking terrorists, people who cross state lines and kidnap people, people involved in massive bank frauds. How do they keep missing stuff? How do they keep missing these massive scams that a Bitcoin guy who screwed over a bunch of Bitcoin owners? How do they keep missing this? The answer is because they're focused on the wrong thing. That clip sums up exactly what we need to do. We need to break up the Washington, D.C. headquarters mindset with the FBI. Oh, we got to be close to the power centers. Why? You got to be close to the criminals so you can lock them up. Send them out across the country. You don't want to do it? Fine. Resign. See you later. Cash is the guy. How do we know Cash is the guy? Folks, how many times do I got to say this and not sound like the old repetitive broken record? Always measure the effectiveness of a pick by the reaction. If the left isn't melting down, you can basically assume that that's the wrong guy, okay? Eric Daughtry tweet, just in. Former FBI agent warns Kash Patel would deal, quote, massive damage to the agency, according to The Hill. Putting someone like Kash Patel in as FBI director, I believe, is extremely dangerous because his resume isn't traditional. What does that say? That should say to you what? Double down. Accelerator, foot, RPMs, 2,000, 3,000, 9,000. Foot to the gas pedal. Folks, start making a stink on social media. Listen, politicians watch that stuff. I'm serious. Get him trending. We need cash. I mean, I have no inside information on this at all. I will say this. I did speak to some people because I owe you honesty in the Trump orbit, UFC. They just asked me, they didn't ask, obviously, I'm not picking it. It was President Trump, I have nothing to do. I'm just saying, they asked me my personal opinion. I said, hey, there's nothing I'm going to tell you I haven't said to my audience. I think Kash Patel's the guy. So I owe you some honesty on that. And that's what I've said publicly. It's what I've said privately. He is the guy. 61 Minutes will absolutely freak out. They'll have another segment about Sean Duffy and Kash Patel. They'll be like, and Sean Duffy has no government experience in transportation. You understand he's a lawyer, a prosecutor, and a multi-term congressman from a state that I promise you has some significant transportation interests. You know, like bridges and roads and airports. Kash Patel's a Nazi. Wait, we're still talking about Sean. No, we're moving on. He's a fascist. Kash Patel is Pol Pot. He is? This is next. Flood the zone. Flood it. Flood the zone. Break the dam. Folks, do not back down on any of these people. Do not let them Mike Flynn any of these people. Don't let them do it. By the way, Guy put up a picture, folks. The optics are obvious. This man is definitely a hardcore white supremacist. There is zero doubt. Look at that. I mean, look at the way he looks, right, Guy? The way he's looking off to the right. With them, and then the melanin level of his skin is definitely not high enough to. You're correct. I mean, we need to scour his body for tattoos, folks. Not in a creepy way. I mean, if he has like an American flag, he's definitely like a Nazi fascist. I mean, Pete has a tattoo celebrating God. Forget it. You got to get him out. Can't have God tattoos and crosses and stuff. I mean. Guys, ready? I'm going to eliminate myself from the Secret Service right now. I'm going to show you some. You guys ready for this? I didn't even think of this. Guy, you ready? I don't want to be creepy, but okay. You guys ready for the? Justin's now leaving. He can't work for it, folks. I have a cross on my right shoulder. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Justin's leaving right now. Michael's like, I can't support this kind of fascism. Guy's like, I'm definitely out of here. Guy's like, you're coming for me next after the show. I got a cross right here. I'm out. So now media people, you can report. I will never, ever have anything to do with the Trump administration. I didn't even think of this, bro. I'm going to make this even worse for you right now. Folks in the chat, just be honest. It's over, right? Just put it is over. This is even worse. This is a definite sign of a fascist Nazi. There's an eagle for America. You can't have that. I'm not showing you I'm not flexing. Oh, look at me. I promise you. Look at that. There's no flexing going on. It's an eagle. You cannot. I'm done. I am out. A cross and an eagle what the holy shit. Get that Bongino. He is definitely an authoritarian, totalitarian, fascist Nazi. Folks in the chat say, get him out. Get him out. The jury has ruled you are ineligible. Ineligible. You are definitely a fascist, white supremacist. I'm losing track of all the names. The podcast will go on. Subscribe to Locals and maybe we'll give you that. Woo-hoo. Maybe we'll do the Geraldo for you. Oh, I got more. Oh, wait, Justin, come over here. I need your help for this one. Yes, there's one more. I didn't even think of this. Yeah, come here. I need your help, Justin, because I can't reach because of my bad shoulders. I have a tattoo at the top of my back. I'm going to turn around. Justin, I hope you're cool with this. Don't file an HR complaint. But you just pull this down a little. Can you see it in the back? Where? You see it? Oh, yeah. Okay, can we show the audience? I'm going to turn around a little bit. I'll turn around this way. Here, come around this way. This tattoo is definitely an eliminate. I'm done after this one. Folks, hold on. Justin, show them. Can you tell me? Yeah, put it down a bit. Can you see it? Do you see it? Folks, that's a Jesus fish. I am out. Justin's leaving right now. I'm like, Justin, we met in a Catholic church. He's out. I'm a religious fanatic. I got a cross, a Jesus fish, and an eagle. Holy shit. Everybody off the show. What do we got? 162,000. Everybody out. Everybody out. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Who wants to watch a crazy religious fanatic like that? Do I ever experience irritation when I shave? I see where you're going with that. Because according to a recent study, 2/3 of men expect some irritation when they shave. That was clever. Only when I shave my back. No, folks, I got to take a short break because I'm losing my mind. Only this show. We got a new sponsor in the Bongino Army. I need you to hook them up because they're here for you. 2/3 of men expect some irritation when they shave. There's little information on how to prevent irritation, only how to treat it. That's why Henson Shaving wants to change the shaving industry, not through gimmicks like subscriptions, but through groundbreaking research. Here's the secret. Even the cheapest dollar store disposable razor will give you a reasonably smooth shave. Here's the trick. Removing the hair without irritation. Henson wants to give you a skin-friendly shave. They sent me one. This thing is amazing. I only use products here. I never would tell you to buy something I wouldn't use myself. Amazing. Henson makes their razors in the aerospace machine shop in Canada, and they also made parts for spacecraft. Henson, Henson. Their machinists are exceptional at manufacturing. It's a big reason why their razor is so much gentler on your skin. Say no to these subscriptions and yes to a razor that'll last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/Bongino. Pick the razor for you and use code Bongino to get a free shave cream with your razor purchase. Just make sure to add it to your cart. Bongino Army, take care of our sponsors. They're good to us. That's a free Henson shave cream with a razor purchase when you head to hensonshaving.com/Bongino and use code Bongino. It's HENSON, hensonshaving.com/Bongino. Use the code Bongino. Welcome to the show, Henson Shaving. We appreciate you being here. And our last sponsor today, American Financing. The Feds drop rates. So you need to call my friends at American Financing today. Now's the perfect time. Consolidate debt. Reduce your monthly expenses. A lot of us have been forced to use credit cards because of the ridiculous prices at the grocery store, power, and even childcare. The debt's expensive with a credit card. Rates are really high. But with mortgage rates dropping, now's the time to wipe the debt out. Do it. American Financing is helping homeowners just like you save over $800 a month on average. They're even closing some in as fast as 10 days. And if you start today, you may delay 2 mortgage payments. There are no upfront fees to find out how much you can save. Call American Financing today at 888-994-7660. That's 888-994-7660. Save yourself some money. Go to AmericanFinancing.net, AmericanFinancing.net, NMLS 122334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Thank you, Henson Shaving. Thank you, American Financing. Please take care of our sponsors. Hey, this is a great clip. You know the great Mike Davis, and another great guy is Jeff Clark, by the way. He's a very talented attorney. He's worked with President Trump. They were on Steve Bannon's War Room, and they were talking about how to push through Kash Patel and Gates. You've heard a lot about the Federal Vacancies Act, recess appointments, standard traditional confirmations. Folks, the bottom line is we have a number of effective constitutional tools. If Gates and, say, maybe a Kash Patel or a Pete Hegseth are obstructed, we have a number of mechanisms to get these guys through. And we should use them. Why? Because cutesy time is what, folks? Cutesy time is over. You want the cutesy time show, you got to go somewhere else. Cutesy time is over a long time ago, too, on War Room. They don't do cutesy time either. Here's a great segment on how to get these guys through. Check out this minute. It's worth your time.
But for Kash, there's all this concern that, they can't get confirmed. Talk about, Trump's got 2 alternatives, and he said he just did the one in 1998. That he's going to use the Vacancies Act. But yours is actually more aggressive. What can President Trump do to get Gates confirmed and to get Patel confirmed if he needs it?
Well, before I unpack the recess appointments clause a little bit, Steve, let me say this. It's even better than that because you can combine the two tools. You could recess appoint somebody, and then that lasts basically for 2 years until the end of the next session of Congress, each session being a year. And then you can tack on another 210 days as acting after that under the Federal Vacancy Reform Act. So the tools are additive, like a kind of Kerpow synergy. So coming back to the recess appointments clause, the president has had this power since the founding of the Constitution. Hundreds and hundreds of recess appointments have been made in our history, including by modern presidents. And for some reason, surprise, surprise, the media and a lot of the never-Trumper types want to pretend that this is not a power that the president has, or if he exercises it, the sky comes falling. None of that is true.
Folks, cutesy time is over. There is nothing even remotely controversial about recess appointments. I described it to you over the last few days. It's not complicated. You've got two houses in Congress. You've got the House of Representatives. You got the Senate. If they go in recess, meaning we're leaving, going back to our districts to do district work, which, by the way, happens all the time, the president is allowed to make a recess appointment, because you can't have government seats empty all the time. There is nothing even remotely controversial about this. You don't want Gates on the first run? Go into recess and we'll appoint him for 210 days, or use the Vacancy Act, or like Jeff Clark said, and Mike Davis, we'll back them up back to back. Obama did recess appointments. Trump did them. Clinton did them. Bush did them. And not even a few. I mean, it was a lot. There is nothing controversial here. I'm really sick of these swampy-ass Republicans who wouldn't even have their jobs without President Trump and the down-ballot effect of you guys showing up and pulling the lever or filling in the bubble for them, complaining and whining about everything. Some of you voted for a Supreme Court nominee who doesn't even know what a freaking woman is. You've got Javier Becerra at HHS, the crazy congressman from California, who has no experience in HHS, Health and Human Services, at all. I'm really sorry, man, but cutesy time is over. Cut the bullshit and just get it done. You need people right now who understand the enemy is that way. They're in the trench. There's a war going on for freedom. Fact. You don't understand it. Get the hell out of the fight. We don't need you. You're sucking up oxygen for someone else. And what are you doing? You're pointing your gun sideways at the trench at the guy who's shooting that way at the enemy. Folks, this is political trench warfare. You doubt me? You want to see this video? You probably saw it, but I'm going to play it again. Here is a Bucks County commissioner in Pennsylvania. They're fighting over unquestionably illegal ballots. Here, I'll show you they're illegal. Put the adultery tweet up first. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has now ordered them again to stop counting illegal ballots that were not signed. They're illegal. There is no question about it. There is no debate about it. They are illegal ballots. Here's the Bucks County Commissioner publicly on video. You think we're playing cutesy time still? Like, double barrel middle finger to you losers. I'm just going to count them anyway because I just really don't care. Watch this.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
Not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Folks, the saddest thing is that's not fake. Justin didn't edit that. That's not AI. That actually happened. And you're worried about Matt Gaetz, that he parties, and I'm not interested in that right now. I'm interested in saving the republic. Folks, sorry, I just want to update the check. Can we have a candid conversation about something? I don't want to, I'm hesitant to do this because it sounds like I'm lecturing people, and I'm in no position to do that. Matter of fact, the whole purpose of this is I'm not lecturing people because I'm in no position to do it. But for those of you out there who may be new to politics and still idealistic, who don't get it yet. And like, well, Matt Gaetz is accused of this and this and this. By the way, they're accusations. Doesn't mean they're real. It means they're accusations. Trump was accused of being a Russian asset. So was Tulsi Gabbard. That's not real either. Even if every single accusation was true, folks, a lot of powerful, great men who've changed the world, I got news for you, man. I'm not saying they are or aren't. I'm just telling you, a lot of them have been really bad men. When you're in the Secret Service as long as I was and you're sitting around the power centers, but you're not in them, you're like a fly on the wall, but you see it. Folks, I'm telling you, man, a lot of these people are really bad people. They are. So all I'm trying to say to you is if you're using good or bad as a metric to appoint people who could change the country for the better, you're going to lose because they're all bad. So forget it. Your only metric at this point should be who is going to use the tools of the Constitution to move our country in a better direction. And a fair criticism you can come back with is, well, Dan, you're a Christian, right? Shouldn't we at least try to find good people? Here's my answer. Yeah. But you're not going to. Because anybody seeking that kind of power, I'm sorry, but they're mostly bad people. Sorry to tell you that, man. You get on the other side of this, you'll see what I'm talking about. All you can do is appoint people who will do the right thing, even if they don't always do the right thing in their personal lives. I hope that sinks in. I want to show you a great clip from my friend Lisa Booth. She was on Fox yesterday. You know, all that talk from the Democrats, election deniers, all this other shit, condemning us for calling out the shenanigans in 2020. Remember, if you even mentioned Pennsylvania, what happened in the 2020 election that I believe was stolen from President Trump, and I believe Pennsylvania was at the forefront of it with all their illegal last-minute rules changes. They told you, don't talk about that. You're not even allowed to bring this up. Where the hell was Governor Josh Shapiro, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, when one of his commissioners is openly talking about violating the law? The answer is he didn't say shit until the Pennsylvania Supreme Court spoke out, and then he gave a milquetoast segment. Here's Lisa Booth bringing up that point, that all these big frauds, oh, you guys are election deniers. They have an actual election denier who just admitted it publicly, and nobody said a word. You want to still play cutesy time with these people? Not me. Watch this.
Beyond that, you can go back to the 2008 Senate race between Norm Coleman and Al Franken. Al Franken did come back, but it was a 0.02% difference. 225 votes was the difference. Mm-hmm. So there is no path for Senator Casey here. What he is doing is small and petty. It is wrong. And also, where is Governor Josh Shapiro in the state of Pennsylvania? This is a state issue. He is ignoring county commissioners openly saying, not only am I breaking the law, but I'm bragging about it. I'm rubbing it in your face. Yeah. And so where is he? So shame on you, Josh Shapiro. If you think about running in 2028, we're looking at you, buddy. Well,
he didn't say anything. The governor of Pennsylvania, the Democrat. I thought you've got an actual election denier in a public position. Folks, this woman needs to be investigated and potentially criminally charged if she broke the law. No dialing that back. If the new incoming Justice Department does not start making serious investigations and potential arrests, you're going to see stuff like this. Freaking ridiculous. You still think it's cutesy time too? Who in the chat lives in Arizona? Your governor is the single most pathetic politician anywhere in the country. I have never seen someone so weak in my life. She reminds me of Gretchen from Mean Girls. She is so inappropriate for the position. I have never, ever seen a figure this weak in public office, ever. Katie Hobbs is a disaster. How is this woman the governor of a critical border state like Arizona? It escapes me. But on to the cutesy time thing. You're mad at Matt Gaetz? You've got a Bucks County commissioner openly saying we're going to steal an election or try to on video. And you've got Katie Hobbs, the Democrat communist governor of Arizona, right here suggesting in this clip that, you know what, if they come in, Tom Homan and the new border chief, if they come in and with President Trump and try to clear the state out of illegals that are destroying the state of Arizona, that she's not only going to object, she's going to do everything to basically violate the law and help the illegals at the expense of the citizens of Arizona. You still want to play cutesy time? Listen, they talk about this openly. Check this out.
Would you, as governor, allow state police and National Guard to carry out mass deportations?
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities, and I've been incredibly clear about that.
So you disagree with mass deportations and the fact that the president-elect says that's what he's going to be working on day one?
Well, I think that those efforts are going to divert needed resources that we need here on these drug interdiction and smuggling and trafficking efforts to keep harm out of our communities.
Wait, what? So illegal migrants who are using these illegal trafficking trails across the border to shuttle drugs and children for sex trafficking, that getting those illegal migrants and shutting those things down is going to divert resources from investigations into drug and sex trafficking? If you're scratching your head going, what the did you just say? This woman is a freaking idiot. She is a moron. Now, all of a sudden, by the way, Katie Hobbs is saying, hey, immigration's a state Arizona issue, not a federal issue. That's fascinating. Because when Arizona under Republican Governor Jan Brewer, remember this, introduced SB 1070 so that Arizona could use their state laws to shut down illegal immigrant trafficking, the same lefties said, no, including the ACLU, immigration's a federal issue, not a state issue, and they called it the show me your papers law. Here's the ACLU statement on it. You can see it yourself in case you think we're fudging the numbers on this. Amazing how their position changes, right? When you want it to be a federal issue because there's a Republican governor in Arizona trying to shut down illegal immigration, you call any law, show me your papers. So you go, no, that's a feds problem. There it is right there. Show me your papers. But now that Katie Hobbs wants the border in Arizona open, she's like, it's not a federal issue. No, it's my issue. These people are disgusting liars. They are garbage. You want to play cute with these people? What are you, insane? These people are running roughshod over the country. Folks, that woman wins re-election. Evacuate the state of Arizona as soon as you can. She is a moron. She is getting people killed right now with her open border policies. And it's disgusting. Folks, people are policy. I need you to understand that. You know, fair enough. You're listening on Apple, Spotify, you're in the live chat, watching us live, watching us on demand. A fair criticism of the show today may be, Dan, you know, you're spending a lot of time on people and appointees, Hegseth, Gates, Tulsi, Kash Patel. Why? Folks, if there's one lesson I learned in the government as a political candidate and now, 10 years in podcasts and radio and TV, believe me, I've been there. It's that people are policy. Do you understand that? No, Dan, policy's policy. No, it isn't. Prove it. Okay. Supreme Court said that Joe Biden cannot use the federal treasury to pay off people's student loans. Did he do it? He did. Why did he do it? Because Joe Biden is a person who's a communist liberal who doesn't care about the policy. I'm not suggesting ignoring policy is a good idea. I'm telling you that policy is often open-ended and open to interpretation. You have people who can interpret policy the right constitutional way, you're going to get good policy. You have people like Joe Biden who view it through a communist lens, they're going to use that policy to do anything. That's why people in these positions, the right people, are so critical. You get a deep stater, they're going to view it through a deep state lens and do deep state stuff and use the policy as an excuse. You want to shut the border down and ice out people like Commie Katie Hobbs, worst governor in the country? That's why we got this guy. We got to fight for him too. Borders are, so he should be okay. Tom Homan. Here's Tom Homan talking about the border priorities. This is what we're doing. And if you're not going to cooperate and you're going to break the law, you may find yourself under investigation. Listen to this.
As far as the deportation operation, we will prioritize public safety threats and national security threats because they pose the biggest danger to the United States. He's got three rails. So we'll do the deportation operation with the priorities I just talked to you out of the gate. That'd be the priorities. Second thing is secure that border. Lock that border down and catch and release and secure the border. The third rail is we got over 300,000 missing children. Over 500,000 children have been trafficked into the United States. This administration released them to unvetted sponsors, and they can't find 300,000 of them. And based on my 3.5 decades, some of these children are in forced labor. We already found some in forced labor. Some are in forced sex trafficking. Some are living with pedophiles. We need to save these children. So that's going to be the third rail.
People are policy, man. You get a guy with Homan viewing it through a constitutional Section 212F perspective where we can exclude the president, any class of aliens for any reason, for any amount of time. He's going to interpret that policy to mean exactly what it says it means. You can't come in. You can't come in. Because when you let people in and you interpret that to mean, oh, you know what? That means I can also unrestrict it and let anybody in. You're going to get incidents like this. Did you hear this abomination yesterday at the Laken Riley trial in Georgia? The suspect in the case is on trial for the murder of Laken Riley. Here's testimony in the trial. It's just quick. Where one of his friends says that, yeah, they were brought into the country and were flown to Georgia by the Biden administration. Can you imagine this? That this prime suspect in the case was like airlifted into his state and is now the suspect in a horrific murder? These are the people you're dealing with. You want to play cute with them? No, they actually said this under oath. Listen to this.
Else that you got to know that you lived with while you were here in Athens.
Alguien más que llegaste a conocer que vivió con ustedes aquí en Athens.
Giancarlo Hernández.
Giancarlos Hernández.
Okay. And how did you get to Athens?
¿Y cómo llegaron a Athens?
En Nueva York pedimos en Manhattan.
In New York, we asked in Manhattan.
En el Hotel Roosevelt.
And Hotel Roosevelt.
De Manhattan pedimos un vuelo humanitario aquí hasta Atlanta.
In Manhattan, we requested for a humanitarian flight to come here to Atlanta.
I mean, what else could you possibly want to hear, folks? That's an under oath testimony by a witness in the case that the suspect in a atrocity, the brutal murder of this young woman, was flown into the state by your president and his team. People are policy. And I don't want you to forget these other folks, too, they're appointing. Lee Zeldin at EPA, Brendan Carr, chairman of the FCC. They are all going to be critical. It's not about palace intrigue. These appointees, these are major, major positions. You interested in free speech, censorship, internet growth, AI? This guy, Brendan Carr, Trump nominated yesterday at FCC, is a rock star. His name's going to get lost in this with Gates and Hegseth and Tulsi and Bobby Kennedy and others. But this is huge. Here he is up on Capitol Hill just a little bit ago talking about the disastrous broadband rollout where you paid billions of dollars and they haven't connected a single freaking home. This guy's a huge advocate for breaking up the censorship cartel. This guy could be one of the top 5 most important appointees yet. Watch this.
In 2021, Vice President Harris agreed to lead the administration's signature $42 billion effort to extend internet service to millions of Americans. It's now been 1,039 days since that program was enacted. After all of that time, not one person has been connected to the internet. Not one home, not one business. Not even one shovel worth of dirt has been turned. And it gets worse. No infrastructure builds will even start until sometime next year at the earliest, and in many cases, not until 2026.
These guys are important. I think I made my point. People are policy, and don't neglect guys like that. You know, we've got the high-profile names that are on the marquee and the billboard, but these guys are important too, and women out there. We're going to transform government, folks. I'm telling you, the culture has changed. The culture. What did Breitbart say? Politics is downstream of culture. The culture's changing. You've got these guys. No, this isn't Rock'em Sock'em Robots doing the Trump dance. You know the Trump dance he does? Everybody's doing the Trump dance. The culture is changing. Nobody's taking a knee anymore in the NFL. I may actually start watching it. You got people doing it. You got Brock Bowers doing it, and you got the team trying to screw him over. But I'm seriously considering watching the football again now. Now you've got people doing the Trump dance. You got John Jones doing the Trump dance. The culture is changing. It is critical. Don't neglect this. Judge Jeanine, did you hear it last night? Did an incredible segment on the 5 on this. She did about 2 minutes. This is only about a minute of it. But she's talking about this pivotal inflection point we're at right now. Where we've been the minority, the aggrieved minority for a long time, censoring us, sticking shots in us, telling us do this and do that, wiping our Facebook accounts out, fake fact-checking us. We're now winning. They're now becoming the minority. We're winning. Listen to this.
Media doesn't deserve to be trusted. Maybe the media deserves exactly what they've gotten. Because they did lie to us. They lied to us about Russia collusion. They got themselves Nobel Peace Prizes and all kinds of prizes. They didn't give them back. We found out there was nothing to it. We were at each other's throats for 4 years over this nonsense. So you know what? What's happening now is people are feeling good because they have literally extricated themselves from this legacy media. They've moved on to social media because they recognize that the legacy media is in with big tech, is in with the Democrat Party, and it's not doing anybody any good. But what we're seeing right now is how the Democrats boxed us. We were in this box, and you were in that box, and we were in this box. Now, all of a sudden, Trump gets elected. It's one box. All the edges have fallen off the boxes. We are happy. You've got footballers, and you've got golfers, and you've got prize fighters, and they're all doing the dance. Maybe because these guys who 8 years ago may have taken a knee, the truth is they know when they go home that their family is suffering in the big cities, that their families aren't being protected because of cashless bail and because of the fact that there are illegals who aren't vetted who are in this country.
Folks, please don't write this off. That is a brilliant take by Judge Jeanine. She is 100% correct. Don't laugh off the Trump dance thing. I've told you this for a long time. It's not about athletes like, oh, great, athletes are in it. You got, I'm sorry, I appreciate you guys, but a lot of these guys relate to the game. That's not the point. We'd rather have you on the field than not, even if you get in the fourth quarter.